important part of the world. We're sat here in the Middle East, which technically is part of Western Asia. But if you look at the whole continent, 4.5 billion people, more than that, living here, around 60% of the world's population. So a key driver of travel in the future, but also in terms of the breadth and depth of landscape and different terrains in the region. It's also somewhere where millions and millions of people in the future are going to want to come for holidays, for travel, for business as well, as we're seeing here today. Before we get started, I'll just introduce you to the panel who join us, and we do have a great range of expertise here from key markets across Asia. We start with Yuthasak, Supasorn, the governor of the Tourism Authority of Thailand. Thank you. Gaurav Bhatnagar, he's the co-founder of Trio Group, which is based in India. We have Ortiguera, the CEO of the Pacific Asia Travel Association, who can offer a regional perspective. And lastly, Hiroyuki Takahashi, chair of board of the JTB Corporation, a major travel company based in Japan. Before we get started with the discussion, here's a quick message from the CEO of Trip.com Group, Jane Sun.
For future growth across our industry, today, encouraging signs of a rebound are starting to emerge as restriction releases and borders open across much of the region. For instance, Trip.com Group reported 3-digit growth in hotel bookings across key Asia-Pacific markets in Q2 this year, compared to the same period in 2019. At Trip.com Group, we implemented a local focus, global vision strategy, working with partners, many of whom are here today, to capture the immense growth of the Asian and Arabian travel market. In the future, we will continue to identify more opportunities to support travel recovery in Asia. We will continue to play to the strengths and support destination partners to promote sustainable international tourism. We must remember that tourism is a crucial driver for sustainable and inclusive growth and development. The value brought forward is not only to global economy, but also to the planet and communities worldwide. Trip.com Group's Sustainable Travel Report featured insights on travelers' pursuits, including the finding that over 1/3 of Asian travelers opt for sustainable travel because it can improve the travel experience, with nearly half of respondents stating they are willing to pay more for sustainable options.
Thank you. That was James Sun, CEO of Trip.com. We'll start the discussion then. Yuthasak, let's start with you. Travel for a better future, that's the theme of this global summit. Looking at your experience in Thailand, just tell us how the last few years have been one of the most popular tourism destinations in the world. How are things faring there?
Yeah, before the COVID time, I think that Thailand is one of the top gainer for the tourism revenue. We are among the top 5. In the year 2019, it's like the peak season, peak year for Thailand. We welcome nearly 40 million a year. But last year, incredibly, dropped to just 400,000. That's impressive. Yeah, but we are moving forward to the new chapter of Thailand. So this year, we bring it back, and rapidly, we set the target by the Minister of Tourism and Sport that we will bring back about 10 million. And next year, we set the target not in terms of the number of the tourists, but we set in terms of the revenue we can generate about 80%, what we want to have in the year 2019. But half of the number that we had, it's been 80% of revenue, 20 million of the we are moving forward to the new chapter. focus on the quality more than
So focus on quality rather than quantity. How is COVID impacting countries all across the region? Because it is a great variety. We're still seeing lockdowns in parts of Asia, most notably in China, impacting not just there and the region, but the rest of the world as well. How much of a concern is it?
Absolutely. The recovery in Asia is certainly lagging what you see here in the Middle East, Europe, North America, but it's stage-wise. And I think that the future is bright because, while, as the governor mentioned, IBAs are one measure, it's a very dynamic environment now. And the travelers emerging from the pandemic have very different values, interests, and the patterns are changing across the region. So there is variability, but I think there are a lot of positive trends that are coming out of this. And I call them the silver linings that are coming out of the pandemic.
When you look at travel, the way it's breaking up, Gaurav, is there a big distinction between, say, business and leisure? What sorts of trends are you seeing for travelers who want to come to places across Asia?
I think it varies a bit from country to country. India, for example, has seen a very strong rebound both for corporate and leisure travel. In fact, it's not for lack of demand. The business would have actually surpassed 2019 numbers. It was a supply side issue this year. Southeast Asia was closed. Thailand is a huge destination from India, and in summers Thailand was open. We would have seen a lot more numbers. We could not get visas for Europe, so that impacted leisure travel. And I think we're seeing something similar in Southeast Asia as well. Corporate travel is also coming back strong. Lesser issues around visas. I just get a sense that a lot of corporate travelers already have visas for US, Europe. So it's just been easier for them to travel. The second issue we have seen is the airfares are very high right now, and which is also pulling back demand a little bit, both from the corporate and leisure side.
Hiroyuki, what sorts of help are you seeing from governments? I mean, throughout the pandemic, we saw this insistence that small and medium-sized enterprises are helped. There is a tendency to try and pull back on the sorts of subsidies or help. What policies do you think governments ought to be looking at to try and boost the recovery?
Domestic travel has been a key driver in boosting the recovery of tourism in many Asian countries, both in the long and short term. Various domestic travel campaigns are being developed in many Asian countries in order to revive the tourism industry. Some of the fundamental programs in the region include Japan's Go To Travel campaign, Vietnamese people travel in Vietnam campaign, Thailand We Love Thailand campaign, and Singapore Experience Singapore Now Travel Later. Aside from domestic travel, most Asian countries are now developing a program to revitalize the inbound travel market as well. Let me talk about the Japanese situation. To give you a quick update of Japan's current situation, the government had announced a supplementary budget in order to support the travel and tourism industry. The lion's share of this is allocated to vitalize inbound travel with Japan's full border restrictions lifted and recent depreciation of the Japanese yen in mind. However, looking at the outbound travel market, while the rest of the world in the midst of a full-fledged recovery, Japan is lagging far behind. For Japanese travelers, there are several factors such as weakening yen and increased travel cost. But the root cause of this is largely related to the unique mentality of the Japanese people, who are very careful about every single action. Even now, almost everyone in Japan wears a mask. There is no one wearing a mask here. This is normal, I think. Japanese travelers are eager to travel abroad. They are just hesitant to travel, and they are not sure of the safety and security. Japanese demand for overseas travel are not disappearing, but rather it's just like a magma and a volcano that are not yet exploded. So I'm confident it's just a matter of time before the outbound travel recover on its own.
And that's really one of the points about the behaviour of people in this part of the world is because things like mask wearing, masks, that before the COVID-19 pandemic spread across the world, there were parts of Asia where people did take personal precautions like that. But moving forward, how do you think governments are going to respond to that challenge of trying to convince people to move? If you look at Europe, 90% of people wanted to travel abroad there. In Asia, there's still some skepticism.
There is, but in terms of health and safety, I have to applaud the Asia Pacific region because it's a great sense of community, and that's why you'll see our vaccination rates are very high, and that's a foundation for resilience. Because certainly it's viewed as protecting the community as well as protecting the travelers. So it's not as politicized in the region. I'm from the U.S., so I see the big disparity. But in Asia Pacific, it really is about protection, care for the community, and I think that will bode well moving forward. And mask wearing is true across many countries in Asia Pacific. It's still worn selectively. People make a judgment call. Where it's high risk, and honestly, it's not really travel that's the high risk. It's it can be day to day when you go food shopping. When you go, and I think it's judgment calls that people need to make that are based more on science, less politics.
If you want to pick up on that, Yuthasak, and also just looking from your perspective, where do you see the growth regions in the next few years, especially with key source markets being skeptical? China was a huge market for you guys, the restrictions were in place there. Where do you see growth in the next 5 to 10 years?
I think that is a promising market to me. We have to accept that during the past 3 years, people kept locked down, cannot go anywhere in the world. People are so desperate. Unfortunately, I think that people worry about the globalization, maybe slower decision to go out. But it's not, it's a fact. I think that in some regions they are so aggressive growing. For instance, for Thailand, we're looking at China to come back very soon. And meanwhile, we're also looking for the new market, emerging market, like Middle East and North Africa, that will be filled up during the low season for the Thailand, for the long-haul market, for instance. And we also see some potential market from the South Asia as well. Not India, that are the second largest traveler to Thailand right now, but for the Pakistan, Bangladesh, that surrounding country is very huge market.
Gaurav, I'll come to you in a second to talk about India, but Hiroyuki, just briefly, where do you see growth in the next 5 to 10 years from a Japanese perspective?
This may not be limited to Asians only, but travelers in general are likely to be extremely cautious when planning and booking travel while at their destinations. This is a strong likelihood that travelers will seek to avoid crowded places and prefer to travel in small groups, and also strive to achieve SDGs. So it is expected that travelers will seek nature-based, outdoor-oriented, and adventurous travel experiences are also environmentally and social-culturally sustainable. Adventure tourism, which includes physical activity, cultural exchange, and nature engagement, is a timely segment for Asian travelers who want to engage with outdoor activities in a meaningful and sustainable way. I believe Asia Pacific is well positioned for adventure tourism because outdoor activities can be well connected with the regional culture and spiritual values. As you may know, the first Adventure Travel Summit in Asia will be held in September 2023 in Hokkaido, Japan, demonstrating Japan's importance as a major player in adventure tourism.
Gaurav, thank you, Hiroyuki. There were a couple of times that we heard the word sustainable there. India, perhaps, as a population of 1.4 billion, has witnessed the impact, like Thailand has in other countries, of what mass tourism does. How do you think that's factoring into the way governments are responding and should be responding, and ordinary people as well, to visiting places like that?
So India has a unique advantage that we have a very young population. And I think young people are far more aware of the value of the SDG goals and how important it is to preserve the environment. That creates a strong popular opinion, right? For governments to take hard decisions is very hard in a democracy if people don't support them, right? So we have an advantage that we have a very young population which is aligned behind understanding that environment awareness, making sure we protect our heritage is important. And that goes a long way, right? While there is some focus from the government, the bigger focus is that if you talk to young people, they're actually looking at things like, what would my carbon footprint be? They're actually willing to pay a premium to stay in a property which is promoting organic or sustainable practices. So that gives me a lot of hope, right? India, you're right. We have constrained for resources. We are a very large country, and we will also contribute disproportionately to outbound travelers globally, right? After China, it is very likely that over the next 10-15 years, Indians will be the biggest outbound travelers worldwide. So it is important that this base of travelers, as they start traveling overseas, they start from being sustainable from the word go, right? And I think that we are in that direction. So I feel very hopeful.
Incomes are rising in countries like India, but also lots of other key parts of the Pacific, Southeast Asia, and Western Asia as well, Central Asia, Liz. There's a lot of lip service given to the idea of sustainable travel, and we want to be green. But in reality, when it comes to the cold hard facts, as COVID has shown, governments are quite eager to build the next airport or to open things up. Is there really a sense of change, do you think, and can that be achieved across this part of the world?
There's absolutely a sense of change needed, and what surveys show of affluent travelers across Asia Pacific is that the sentiment and the interest is very high. So coming from the consumers, and these are and travelers from Philippines, Indonesia, India. So these are markets where they've experienced the impact of climate change. So there is over 90%, in some countries 99% of the travelers want more sustainable options, and they want more conscious travel. And what I'm seeing, because I have the benefit of speaking to not just many governments across the region who are our members, but also whether they're multinationals or SMEs, research agencies, what I'm seeing is, even for example, the hotel investment side, there's an interest in, at grassroots, at the development stage, investing in sustainable building options. And they love to partner with the governments to see how this can be done and what policies and what practices they need to follow. And at the end of the day, your point about economics, money talks. So the consumers are looking for this. They're frustrated that there's not enough transparency. And so actually it's our onus, the supply side, that needs to be more diligent, put more actions against the words, and make it more transparent. I think that the OTAs have a powerful role to play in bringing that to light, so consumers and travelers can have informed, educated options.
You head the tourism authority as governor. How much of a concern is that for you, and how are you looking at that challenge? I mean, perceptions of Thai beaches, for example, being littered with rubbish because of foreign tourists. Are you using technology, innovation? How are you trying to meet that challenge rather than just reducing the quality, the quantity, and focusing on quality?
Yeah, I think that it's a big work, and everyone, stakeholder in the whole supply chain in the world have to move forward for that. That's why the Thai government introduced the concept of the lineage. B is mean for the biodiversity. G as C is fertilizer, and then for the G is green. That will be the 3 pillars for the for the whole country of Thailand will be applied for. It's not only for the for the tourism sector. And we started that we will do because we believe that although our sustainability is something that's wrong now, but we have to start. Then we work with hotel, we work with our stakeholders, supply chain, start with how to reduce how to use the single plastic, and how to save the energy, and then use the technology to reduce the waste from the food that is used in the this sector. And we want to apply innovation or technology that can bring more sustainability and add value to the industry.
Gaurav, do you think technology and innovation is the way to go here, more use of things like renewable energy, or then be more in terms of the stick approach and using penalties for people who don't clean up their act?
Yeah, I think technology has to play a big role, right from creating education on, and simple things are starting to happen, right? Now you look at your, when you're booking your flights, a lot of times you will see the carbon footprint on that flight, right? So it starts to create some awareness of my own decisions, right? Am I taking a responsible decision or not? But beyond that, in terms of compliance, I think tech plays a big role, but the bigger role really is in creating the awareness of why we need to comply with what it is. One good advantage has been that, the last 2 years during lockdowns, like a city like Delhi, which used to be very polluted, and we were locked down for a week and the city has cleared up, right? You can see the blue skies and people start to realize that you can actually make an impact, right? Sometimes we have a view, what is my contribution to this big, there are 7-8 billion people in this world. What will happen if I make a choice or not? And then we realize that no, it's not that things are not irreversible. You can still reverse it. So I think that had a very positive impact. And in general, I do believe, I'm very positive about the fact that sustainable tourism will be a profitable venture. And as we've seen in business, right, once industry sees revenue coming in because of a certain action, those actions get amplified, right? So as long as sustainability doesn't feel like a cost center, it becomes a profit center for organizations, for tourism companies, for resorts, for destinations. I think that is the way ahead.
And Liz, I wanted to touch upon something that perhaps we've spoken about, all of the opportunities in the region, 60% of the world's population, about the different things countries are doing to try and boost their tourism offerings, but there is huge geopolitical risk in Asia Pacific as well, and that looks like it's only going to increase with the world's 2 largest economies and loggerheads focus on the Pacific and Indian Oceans. What do you make of that threat, and how's it going to impact travel moving forward?
Well, what I would say is that yes, certainly it is a concern, and it impacts things like flight routes, cost of fuel, and that's being felt by everyone globally. In the Asia Pacific region, though, what I see is across the nation, there is a spirit of collaboration. There's a lot of bilateral agreements that are being made. Certainly this is a great forum for some of them, and it really is, cooperation in terms of how can we emerge from this together. And so, some of the geopolitics that goes on, it's this industry and our region is trying to get back on its feet despite these obstacles. And it is more of a neutral territory, I would say. And so there are tremendous efforts, and it's amazing that over 12 days we had 3 summits in our region. I would tell everyone, really, the future is Asia, and I think between APEC, ASEAN, G20, all happening in the last 12 days. And while the rest of the world might be focusing on the superpowers and how are they discussing, our focus is on collaboration.
Obviously, Thailand are a key member of many of those trade blocs like the ASEAN, APAC, CGTN as well. How much of a concern is it for a country like yours to be caught in the middle of rising tensions?
Actually, we do, feel more concerned about the challenge very much because like we said that from now on, we come back but we need more collaboration. We need more partnership. We don't want to compete with each other, but we can, come back together and stronger together.
And I think there has been plenty, as you say, in the last month, showing the desire for de-escalation, both from global powers as well as many in the region as well, taking a leading role, particularly countries like Laos, Vietnam, others also stepping up. Gaurav, to come to tourism and where it's headed then, is there enough of a focus, do you think, for this part of the world, the Middle East, when it comes to what India is doing and its offerings?
So absolutely, I think there are strong cultural ties between the Middle East and India. I think India is the largest source market from outside the region to Saudi, to UAE, Portugal, Qatar as well. Both from a perspective of Indians traveling into the region as well as the region traveling to India, those numbers have always been high, and I see that just growing every year. Part of it is more awareness, and the bigger part is just the immense amount of connectivity that exists between the Middle East and India now. They're like, every day there are dozens of, and not dozens, there are almost 100 flights just between, more than 100 flights just between India and the Middle East. So, and it is almost akin to a domestic flight for Indians traveling into the region and vice versa. So the factors are coming together. India definitely looks at the Middle East. So first-time travelers will either go to Thailand or they will go to Dubai, right? That's very standard. First-time travelers from India will either fly, west into Dubai or they'll fly east into Thailand. And India has only 3% of the world's, India's population has a passport today. So when that 3 goes to a 10 or a 12, you can just imagine the amount of people traveling both into the region as well as into Southeast Asia.
And I know that Thailand, also Saudi, the UAE, those are key source markets, but we'll have to leave it there. And I think the plans that the Ministry of Tourism and the STA have here, it's only going to try and boost the infrastructure to allow better connectivity and ties. But we're going to have to leave it there. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us once again. The Governor of the Tourism Authority of Thailand, Yuthasak Supasorn, Gaurav Bhatnagar, co-founder of TBO Group in India, Liz Ortiguera, CEO of the Pacific Asia Travel Association, last but not least, Hiroyuki Takahashi, Chair of the Board at the JTB Corporation in Japan. And thank you very much for joining us. And just a great